Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path located in Forest City, North Carolina. For today's video, I'm going to teach you how to make a really fun and easy spring bracelet. I know in the summer and spring, I don't like to wear too heavy of bracelets because they seem, you kind of get sweaty, especially if you're playing and you're doing things outside, and they just seem heavy. So this is going to be a very narrow, very thin spring bracelet that you can wear for the spring, the summer. You can wear one, you can bunch them together and wear a lot of them, kind of whatever you want to do. And these are a little bit more cost conscious. Basically what you'll need for today's video is you're going to be needing 69 4mm Bicones. Now these can be Swarovski, they can be Thunder Polish, they can be Preciosa, glass, whatever you want. If you don't want to use a bicone, you can use a regular Firepolish round bead. But you're not going to have a lot of contrast because the base of our bracelet, you'll need 82 4mm fire polished round beads. So today for my video, I'm going to be using Fuchsia Bicones, and I'm going to be using a purple iris for my 4mm rounds, which will be the base. Now you're also going to need a size 11 seed bead, and I'm going to be using purple. You're going to need 2 needles, as well as at least 2 yards of a 6-pound Fireline in either crystal or the smoke color, and then 2 wire protectors and your choice of clasp. So go ahead and get your materials together and we'll get started. To start the project, I've threaded my needles onto each end of a 2-yard piece of Fireline. And you're going to make the whole base of the bracelet first. And I've already started one here so that you can see. I used black on this one, but we're going to be doing the whole length of the bracelet first, just in our base of fire polished rounds. So, to start off, 1 needle. It doesn't matter if you're right-handed or left-handed, it all works out the same. 1 needle, you'll pick up 3 fire polished beads and let those drop onto your thread. With the other needle, pick up 1 4mm round, pull it down off of your needle just a little, and cross the other needle through it the opposite way. Now, just on this very first one, you want to put your needles together, hold the bead, and pull down. So you make sure that your little box of beads there gets right into the middle. Now, 1 bead onto each needle, let those drop down. You pick up 1 bead with 1 needle, pull it down off the needle just a little bit, take the other needle, cross through the other way, and pull the needles opposite ways, and that gives you 2 boxes. Continue 1 bead onto each needle, let that fall, pick up 1 bead with 1 needle, pull it down off the needle just a little bit, and then take the other needle, cross through it the opposite way, and pull. So now that gives us 3 boxes. Okay, and I'm going to show you one more, and we're just going to continue this for the length of the bracelet. I'm going to pick up 1 on each needle, let that fall, and then I'm going to pick up 1 bead on 1 needle, and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through the 1 bead. So that now, if you don't get it tangled up on any of your jewelry like I just did, you have 4 boxes. Just like this. Now you'll want to continue, like I said, until you reach the length you need. And be sure and leave yourself 1 inch to 1/2 inch, depending on the type of clasp you're going to use for the clasp. Once you've finished with the base, this is what it should look like. My bracelet has 27 total boxes, and it's going to be a little like between a 7 and a 7 1/4 inch bracelet. And 2, it'll depend on, again, the size clasp that you choose to use. Now, I'm probably going to sell this one at my shop, so I'm going to choose to use a lobster claw with a extender chain for the other side. So using one needle, we're going to go ahead and put the clasp on this end. So using one needle, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick up 3 size 11 seed beads, and we're going to be using the wire protector. So I'm going to pick up my wire protector. I'm going up one side, and I'm going to come down through the other side, just like this. I'm going to thread on the biggest part of my clasp, and that's just the way I choose to do it. You don't have to do it that way. And once I get the clasp threaded on there, then I'm going to go back down through the 3rd seed bead, which is the one right before my wire protector. I'm going to go back down through just that one bead. Then I'll pick up 2 more seed beads. My clasp started coming out in this direction, so I'm going to come back through that same bead I'm exiting, coming in this direction here, so that when I pull nice and tight, now my clasp is right above the last bead that I put on there. So now you can actually check it. I'm going to go ahead and put it around my wrist, make sure, and that looks like that's going to be a good size once I get it finished. So, I get it straightened back out here. So now using my other needle, I'm actually going to go back through that clasp again. So I'm going to go up through all 3 seed beads, through the wire protector, through the clasp, and down through the other side of the wire protector, down through just the 3rd seed bead, that one there in the middle, down the other 2 seed beads, and then back through the 4mm, so that again both threads are coming out opposite sides of the 4mm here on the end. Now I'm going to turn this, get everything out of the way here. I'm going to turn this to where I'm going to be working away from myself, and that's just how I like to do it. Whichever way you prefer is up to you. And we're completely done with the base, and now we're actually going to start with the embellishment process. So you want to get out your 4mm bicones and your seed beads, and I'm going to start out by picking up 1 4mm onto each needle, and then I'm going to pick up 1 seed bead, and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through that 1 seed bead and pull, so that it gives a half X, I should say, here at the top. I'm going to pick up 1 4mm onto each needle. Now, you're not going to be working with any of the beads on the outside. You're only going to be working with the center beads. So I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit more here without it getting fuzzy so that you can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. So I started coming out of the first 4mm round. I did my half X. I'm going to finish up by going through the very next 4mm round, which will be this one here. So I've got my 1 4mm onto each needle, and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through the very next 4mm round on the base, so that when you pull, you get your first X shape on the top here. Now, if you want, you can do every box with the 4 crystals like I have here, and that's very pretty, but they tend to get kind of crowded up. So what I like to do, once I have my first box of 4, then on each needle I pick up 1 size 11 seed bead, I let those fall, and then on one needle I'm going to pick up a 4mm bicone. I'm going to pull it down off of the thread just a little bit, and then instead of going opposites, I'm going to go the same way. So I'm going to take the other needle and I'm going to go the same way through that crystal, so that you'll have 2 needles coming out the same way through the 1 crystal. So that when I pull, it'll lay over the middle or the next box just like this. Now to finish off that box, you'll pick up one size 11 seed bead onto each needle, and we're going to cross through the very next 4mm round, which will be this one here. So cross one needle through, and then I'll cross the other needle through, pull nice and tight so that now you have one what I call flower box and one straight box. So now we're just going to alternate the pattern between a flower, a straight, a flower, a straight. So to do the flower, I've got one 4mm bicone onto each needle, and I'm going to let those fall. Then on one needle, I'm going to pick up one size 11 seed bead. I'm going to pull it down off the needle just a little and cross opposite ways through the one bead so that when I pull it down, I have my next half flower. To finish out the flower box, I'm going to pick up one 4mm onto each needle, and I'm going to cross opposite ways through the very next 4mm round on the base. So cross through this one, and take the other needle, and cross this way. So that when you pull, you get another flower box. Now you're ready for the straight box, so you're going to pick up one size 11 seed bead onto each needle and let those fall. On one needle, I'm going to pick up one 4mm bicone. I'm going to let it come off of the needle, and I'm going to take the other needle and go through it the same direction so that both needles are coming out the same way of that one bead. And I'm going to pull. Then I want one size 11 seed bead onto each needle, and I'm going to cross my needles opposite ways through the very next 4mm round on the base. And when you pull, make sure your seed beads go up to the top and don't get caught underneath. So I'm going to go through this way so that I get another straight box like that. So this is what you should have thus far: a flower, a straight, a flower, a straight. Now you're just going to continue doing this same flower, straight, till you reach the end of the bracelet. So I'm to the end, and I finished my embellishment, and I'm ready to add the other end of the clasp. So just like I did on the other side, I'm going to pick up 3 size 11 seed beads and my other wire protector. So I'm going to go up one side of the wire protector, down the other side, and now I'm actually going to add some extender chain, so when I get to the shop, so I'm actually not going to put it on this, but you'll want to thread on the other end of your clasp is what you'll want to do. So thread it on, and I'm actually going to thread on a split ring just so that you can see what I mean. So I'm threading on my split ring, and I'm going to go back down through the third seed bead, which is the one right at the wire protector. Pull. Pick up 2 seeds. And what I'm going to do, my thread or my clasp started here, so I'm just going to take the needle. I'm going to come back down through that same fire polished bead so that when I pull, now my clasp lays right over the last fire polished bead that I put on. Now you'll want to go through and reinforce that again. So to reinforce it, I'm just going to go up through all 3 seed beads, through the wire protector, down the other side and through the third seed bead, which is that middle seed bead there. Then I'm going to go down through the 2 seeds on the other side, and then through the fire polished bead again, so that it helps to reinforce that a little and make it look a little more finished. So now I have the full length of my bracelet. I have my clasp put on, so if you want to, you can actually thread through, tie your threads off, and you can be done. But I don't like to see space in between the sides of my beads here. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one needle and I'm going to come down through the very first fire polished bead here on the side. I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads and I'm going to come right down through the next fire polished bead. Now this time I'm only going to pick up 1 bead. And so you'll see when you pull it, this is going to make this, when we actually get it done, more of like a bangle shape, and that's exactly what you want. So I'm going to pick up 2 seeds, and then 1 seed. And then 2, and 1. And I'm just going to go down this whole side, repeating the 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then finally 1, and I'm going to cross through the very last fire polish on the base down here. Now you can already tell what a difference closing up the one side versus having the open here on the other side. So I'm going to go back to the other end, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go through the first fire polished here on the side, just like I did on the other side. And be sure to start with the same pattern. So I'm going to do 2, 1, 2, 1, and you're just going to go down the whole side doing your pattern of 2, 1, 2, 1. When you get to the end of the bracelet, this is what it should look like. You can see we filled in the holes, and it's more of, when you lay it down, it's more of a circular bracelet instead of a completely flat bracelet. So it's completely up to you as to how you want to do the bracelet as far as the sides are concerned. But when I get to the end, I'm going to go through the last fire polish, and my threads are exiting out next to each other, so I'm going to tie these 2 threads into a couple of really good knots. And then I'll thread through a couple other places and do the same thing. If you want to reinforce your clasp again, you most certainly can, as long as your wire protector will allow you to be able to get back through. I'm going to put a couple more knots in here. And like I said, you can put as many knots in here as you want to, and you can just reinforce as much as you want to. This is just a sample to show you how to make the bracelet. So then when I finish my knots, I'm going to thread through a few beads with each needle. And then you can take your scissors, or I'm going to use my little thread zapper tool to cut my threads, so that when you finish, you have a really pretty, very skinny bracelet that you can wear for the summer. I've already started another one here to let you see. This is using black for the bottom, and I'm using the Thunder Polished, which is, this one is called Green Light, and I really like this color. So you can kind of see, you know, how they turn out as far as putting the beads down and not putting the beads down. But we carry the fire polish beads on our website, and we carry some 4mm on our website, or our Etsy site, so you can check those out. The address is listed here on the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to come back next week for another really fun tutorial. In the meantime, be sure and check out our Etsy shop and look at all the new stuff that we're adding daily on there. And be sure and become our friend on Facebook. Hope you guys have a blessed week, and we'll see you again next week.